Welcome to Know Happiness, a podcast around how we seek, find, and sustain happiness in some of the most unusual places. Today, I'm joined with Katelyn, a hairstylist, a Reiki master, and a plant medicine facilitator. And friend, hi Katelyn.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
So this is crazy because you, I think, were my maybe first or second guest when we started this whole podcast. And I think that's why it was really important for me to have you back, because just in the matter of probably a year and a half now worth of time, how much you and I both have grown and the things we've gone through. And so it's just like a way to celebrate all of the triumphs and things that we've gone through in the last year and a half. So I ask everyone, what is happiness to you?
Truly being able to find the joy in the mundane actions of being human.
I like that because it seems like, at least the way I've understood happiness to be is that you're like achieving, reaching that goal, and then I'll be happy. And this, and the truth is, and just this day-to-day, the joy of sipping a warm drink on the patio, whatever it is, that's happiness, that's peace.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's talk about Alchemy of Self. What is it? What have you learned, and where are you planning to use it, and how are you using it?
Yeah, so the Alchemy of Self is a 13-month course that I have been in since last year. Shout out to Adam and Claudia. Very grateful for them. And it is a course that helps you to basically look within. It brings you within any issues you're having in your life, any issues like whatever fragmented pieces of yourself, to pull those back in so that you are whole. Remember that you're whole, because we are all already whole. And I am taking this course with the intention of, I started to take it with the intention of training to be a plant medicine facilitator. And throughout the course, I've been able to really quickly, I felt like, implement it just into day-to-day conversation. So at the salon with my clients, kind of shifting the way that I speak about things, because our words are so powerful that it's just brought so much awareness to what I create by how I speak about what happens in my life. It's been really, really cool to find more like-minded people too, and expand our family and expand our tribe and continue to grow and continue to create relationships that are positive, where we're not bonding over gossip or negative conversations or creating victimhood out of our life experiences. So it's been really cool. I've been kind of reflecting the last month or two of what I've gotten from this class and how I even got there in the first place. And it just made me realize I've been searching for that for a really long time. I've taken small steps and big steps since college, really, to find what I would call is this conversation of self, where we're fully accountable for the role we play in our lives.
Well, so when you say fragmented, because I'm getting ready to take this class now, coming up in a few weeks, I guess a month. And the way that I kind of understood it is that we have all these fragmented parts of our psyche, our personality, right? And they're there for numerous reasons, protections, and, and so, and correct me if I'm wrong, it seems that this class is psychology mixed with spirituality, and it's helping you integrate all of those the little girl who wants the attention from everyone because she didn't get attention from her dad or whatever it is, to integrate that into one single. Is that right?
Yeah. And so as you'll learn, which is super exciting, those parts of ourselves we refer to as subpersonalities. So really figuring out like where in your life these subpersonalities are running the show, because the whole point is to come back to your whole self. So this part of yourself that is in alignment with your highest good.
Yeah, the highest self versus, it kind of sounds like family systems a little bit. Is that?
I don't know. I'm not quite familiar with family systems.
Well, and I, certainly am not well versed enough to like really talk about it, but I know that they're in family systems. I believe they have like three. There's the person that puts out the fires, basically, and so it is very much integrating all of those parts. So, like you said, one part of yourself isn't acting out on behalf of everything else that's going on or running the show.
Right.
And then there's also that silent observer, or loving observer.
Yeah. So the idea that, we have a body, but we're not our bodies. And we have thoughts, but we're not our thoughts. We have desires, but we're not our desires. We lovingly observe all of those things. And, if you can observe your thoughts, then you can't be your thoughts.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm just kind of a mental person. Like I'm in my head a lot. Thinking, and it's a gift in a lot of ways, and I can get in my own way because I'm letting those thoughts run the show.
Yeah. So
kind of really learning how to come back to that loving observer.
Yeah, and the truth is we don't really know what the truth is, and a lot of times in our brain we think we have an idea of what so-and-so is thinking or what happened to us, whatever we're playing or ruminating in our thoughts. Like for me, it's the shower. It's my most favorite time to just have these long conversations with myself. And sometimes in the shower, if I'm in a good headspace, it's a beautiful conversation. However, when I'm maybe not in my highest, truest, best self, it can be a lot of like, or like maybe I should have said this in this way, and what I'm saying.
So that little sub-personality of the perfect argument.
Yeah,
like I've got the perfect argument. Man, I should have done that right. Yeah.
Why didn't I say that?
Yeah.
So now you're nearing the end of this training. I believe is it done?
No, we've got like a month left.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so personally, and I can't obviously speak for your journey, but I have noticed just like a marked, not that you weren't fabulous to begin with, but I really just have noticed how you're just stepping into your power. I mean, you've always been a powerful woman, but there's just something different. And I don't know if I can put words to it, but your essence.
Yeah, I don't know if I can put words to it either, but I feel that. And I think the best that I can say is I no longer have these parts of myself running the show that are not in alignment. Well, I don't want to say no longer because, that's always going to be there. We're human. But I can feel in my body when I'm in alignment. I can feel the resonance with my higher self. And I'm aware, I've brought awareness and sent so much love to the other parts of myself that needed it. Now they don't run the show anymore. So maybe it's a more pure version of me.
Yeah.
A version of me that's not coming from ego.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
And a version of me that's not afraid to feel and to be love. I'm not afraid of the rejection. I'm not afraid of, do I look a certain way? Am I showing up a certain way? I'm also not worried about the outcome. I'm not worried about somebody else's response to me because it doesn't actually have anything to do with me.
Right.
So,
well, and I feel like, for tell me if I'm wrong, but it's also about, as you're lovingly observing these behaviors and thoughts and patterns, that there's not judgment. That's where the loving piece is. And if there is a part of you that maybe slips back into an old behavior, that you can lovingly observe that and encourage.
Yeah, 100%.
Shame and wrong.
When I first started really like analyzing where I'm coming from, there was a part of me that judged myself for being judgmental. So it's like, all right, got it. I'm getting it, you know? And yeah, like I said, I'm not by any means perfect, but I can feel myself coming back to this loving place so much more quickly.
How do you feel that this has now spilled over into other relationships, like with your family and your close friends? Like, how have you noticed Kaelyn showing up?
Man, that's a really good question. A lot of ways. It's been a really interesting year and a half since we last talked. With some family stuff happening, I've been forced to be a loving observer, watching my family go through some really big life changes and, like traumatic life changes, like knowing rather like before I would have tried to like step in and step in and help in some ways. And there's just actually nothing I can do because their journey is their journey. And as I've been I've been diving into embracing the divine feminine and being the divine feminine, and that actually means doing less. So it, in a way, is a lot easier to do less in a situation like that, because when I know that I have nothing to do, I can't really fuck that up. So
that must be the key.
Yeah, right, that's it.
Just in my feminine here.
Anyway, we're done here.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really have been doing a lot less, and it just makes everything so much easier. And sometimes it is a really big challenge to only observe when I watch people I love so deeply go through something painful. But I know that as long as they know I'm there and I've communicated that I will do anything I can for them, that's all I can do. They need to ask for something because I don't actually know what they need.
Or necessarily what's best
right.
for them. Well, I think about how my interactions with my children and me seeing an outcome for them that I think, would be really good, and not taking their abilities away of coming to that realization on their own. That is hindering their growth and their ability to like problem solve and, figure out what might feel the best for them, not for how I perceive it. And that has been, I guess I didn't realize until I had heard somebody say, like, you're actually harming your children by overdoing for them, by, like, oh, well, that was not my intention. I thought I was being helpful.
Right.
I didn't have a mom that was home after school and all up in my shit, trying to help me with things. Like, I just didn't have that. And so, like, the pendulum swung completely to the other side of like, oh, well, now I'm going to overdo.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's actually really all about that, what you just said, like the pendulum swinging. It's about polarity, right? And trying to balance that out and finding this loving observer, allowing both parts of that to be a part of you.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like one of the biggest ones is like, there's so much to do. Also, there's nothing to do. The experience of the more I learn, the more I feel like I know. And then also the more that I realize that I don't know anything.
Yeah. Well, it's like if you think you've arrived, you've not learned anything at all. You know,
Yeah.
like it's when we're like, I got it all figured out and come listen to everything I say. It's true. You know, I am learning all of these things, but man, I don't really know anything. And that's beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of freedom in that.
Yeah.
A lot of space and a lot of freedom in that. And another thing, like, you know, like with this course, I have a really good idea of what I want to do moving forward. And also, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know anything. I know what the next step is.
Yeah.
And it's completing this course and continuing to build the relationships and make the connections with the people that resonate with me. Because that feeling of resonance and alignment with my highest good gets me excited. And the whole point is to follow the things that we're excited about.
That light you up. Well,
Yeah.
and that takes a lot of trust.
Yeah.
You know? So you're you're feminine, you're in the flow, and it's showing. Maybe it's contagious because I feel like I've relaxed a lot around like the need to have everything done and everything perfect and am just giving myself a lot more grace than I ever have.
For sure. And you know that it's funny that you say contagious because I think that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Like, you know, one of our other beautiful teachers, Christy, has been telling me, you know, like, you're a natural leader and all you have to do is be. Like, you have to be you. People will follow.
Yeah.
Like, the right people will follow. So again, doing less and just being in this place of alignment with my highest good and knowing that even like with the things that make me feel excited, they're the things that make me feel excited from this place of my highest self.
Yeah.
Not excited from this place of that feels good to be complimented or it feels good to be seen, you know, feeding the ego.
Yeah. Well, it looks good on you.
Thank you.
And I appreciate you showing others, you know, the way, you know, like it allows me to be my authentic self too, you know. So like we said, it is contagious. It is giving me permission.
Yeah. And everybody, like I see it happening with the people that I spend the most time with, and it just keeps getting easier and easier to be that.
Well, isn't it funny that when we met down in Tulum, you, Aaron, and I were like the three masculine women. You know, like we immediately forged this bond and then like identified as like, you know, that was our thing. And letting that fall away and understanding that, well, that's one side, you know, and we have both, you know, and we're just getting more comfortable being in the feminine.
Yeah, it's a lot less exhausting.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, we live in a masculine world, right? You know, of all the to-do lists and checking shit off. And we bought into the narrative that if you're not in the hustle, you're not working hard enough, right? And it's very opposite of everything that we're learning in our spiritual community about flow. And it doesn't mean that there's not time and place for the hustle, right?
right.
It just doesn't mean that we have to live in that space 24/7.
Yeah, and I think, you know, like even that is a polarity, right? Am I going to be in my masculine or my feminine? Finding the balance of that, finding what works. And what I've noticed is I've proven to myself that I can work my ass off.
You're right.
And I've been successful. And I'm fucking tired.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that anymore.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel good anymore. And that's not my best self, you know? That was a person coming from a place of having to provide for myself.
Survival.
And having to protect myself.
Yeah.
Exactly. I have been in fight or flight my whole life, and I didn't even know it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there were some instances where it was pretty obvious, but also
Right.
there's just been, in the last couple months, a huge shift because I've been able to relax. I haven't had to do as much. My nervous system has been calmed down and just slowing down long enough to listen to the messages that I need to receive.
Katelyn, you had quite a year, your freaking car gets stolen, you just moved. It was just a lot of like things that would make your root chakra out of line, it was kind of scary. I mean, we've had numerous conversations around like, oh, I don't really like you living there. It scares me. And not that you want to live like that, thinking that bad things are going to happen. But just in that, in and of like moving, I feel like you are able to have a little more ease and flow.
Yeah, 100%. And it was a shift I was kind of afraid of. I really didn't want to spend as much time in the car as I spend. And now it's kind of like my favorite time because I get some time to think. I get some time to process or to just be and do nothing other than drive, obviously. But there's nothing else to do then.
Well, so that is going to kind of segue us because the last time you were here, we did not talk about your assault.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's a really powerful story of triumph for you. And if you're okay with talking about it a little bit, I want you just to tell the audience about what happened to you.
Yeah. Man, so I've told this story so many times, and I think now coming from a place of allowing myself to feel, it doesn't like make me feel any sort of way to tear up about it because it was just such a powerful moment. But yeah, when I was 21, a friend and I were leaving the bar, and I mean, I just had a feeling. I knew something was wrong, and I turned around and my friend was being robbed and stomped on by two men, and next thing I know, there's a gun in my face, and they're telling me, give me your purse, give me that, taking everything. And it was just how quickly it happened. The amount of thoughts I had were just so crazy. You think you're safe because I was with a man. You think, oh, you hold your keys this certain way to,
fight with them.
Yeah. Turns out that fucking hurts when they take it out of your hand because the ring was like stuck to my finger. So it just like shredded all the way up my finger. And in the altercation, they were saying, give me this. And I had a ring on my hand and they said, give me your ring. And I just remember having the thought like, okay, if I give you this, then what? And I said no. And maybe some other things I shouldn't have said, but they didn't take the ring. They did pistol whip me. They did stomp on me. And in that moment, I did die. Like, I now know that what that was a rush of DMT happening. I was pulled out of my body and I was the observer of the situation. And I got to choose. Well, I say I got to choose. There was a voice that said, go back, you're not done. So going back into my body, waking up to hearing these men scream that it's a fucking stick and they can't steal my car and run away.
All for that.
For the $17 in my digital camera. And, my friend somehow didn't get knocked out. So he was able to kind of scoot me up and somehow flag down an ambulance. Cause I know I don't know how the ambulance got there, but I just remember sitting on a bench in front of the bar, Charlie Hooper's, and having an ambulance come up and they put a neck brace on my neck. And in that moment, I knew that 1, I was going to be safe. And 2, like my jaw was broken and I was really fucked up. So I didn't wake up again until the next morning in the hospital where I was for the next week or so. And I had a couple jaw surgeries. I had multiple skull fractures, multiple bleeds in my brain. My eardrums had exploded. My sphenoid bone, which I don't know if you know where that is, but it's literally in the middle of your skull, that had fractured. Had some spiral fractures in the top of my spine. So truly it is a miracle that I didn't die.
Yeah.
And that to me was the beginning of an awakening because, you know, even in the hospital, my first thought after I like ran my tongue on the back of my teeth and made sure they were all attached, which they were, which is great. And again, a miracle. I just remember thinking like, what the fuck happened to these people that they can go out and do that to another person, you know? And I was obviously immediately surrounded by so much love and so much support. And I just remember grieving for those men that they didn't, there's no way they've ever felt that amount of love in their lives. So I also realized how important your thoughts are and your mind is, and that I was going to be able to heal myself. Like I was going to be okay. I am still very hard of hearing, but you know,
I can attest to that.
But since then I have had the experience with my hearing that it's been a really big gift to not be able to hear, because I don't need to hear, I can feel. Half of the time when I hear, like when I have to ask what 5 times to what somebody says, and then I do finally hear them, it's just like, well, cool, I didn't actually want to hear that.
Right.
Yeah,
It's actually
like
a form of
whatever you were
protection.
saying was gossip or something along those lines that actually isn't positive, and I don't need to hear that. So there's, again, back to trust. I trust that I hear what I need to hear.
Yeah.
And I ask for what I need otherwise.
Well, and I think in your line of work, your career, where you're, you know, probably hearing a lot of things that you really don't want to hear. And so it really is a fucking gift.
Yeah.
Never in a
It
million
really,
years.
really has been a gift. And I think the whole experience was a gift. Again, from the beginning, I was filled with so much gratitude that it was me, because I knew in my heart, had it been some of my other friends, they probably wouldn't have lived, you know, but there's an aspect of me that was a warrior in however many lifetimes. So I fought and I stayed, and I knew I wasn't done. You know, it was kind of funny, like looking back, maybe not funny. I don't know. It's funny. I can laugh at it. It's my story.
Right.
But like, you know, to be out of my body and have this experience where I hear you're not done. I feel like it was my soul just saying like, oh, we're not fucking starting over again. Go back. Like we're doing it. This is the lifetime that we do it, that we get it, where we win. You know?
I think that story, I mean, I remember when you told me, because I had had an experience of being very close to death, and not that we trauma bonded over it, but it was like just a really deepened our connection. And I think it's such a remarkable story for people to hear who are going through really painful, challenging times, like life or death type things.
Yeah.
And that, like, you are a testament to, and I don't want to cry, but you're a testament to, based on how you look at what's happened in your life, like that you turned a tragedy into triumph.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I see you and I recognize that, and I'm just so grateful that you weren't done.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. It has definitely been, and you know, again, back to the last year and a half, you know, like that was when I was 21. That was like 16 years ago. That was just the beginning. I've had still more experiences that have been really fucking hard, but I've started to realize in the last 6 months or so, the point of all of those experiences was to expand my bandwidth and my capacity to hold space for other people. Because there's truly nothing that anybody else is going to need to process that's going to shock me. And there's a part of me that feels it because I've been there too.
Yeah.
And I don't even, you know, like it's like I don't have to tell them that, because they can feel it too. You know, they can feel the resonance, they can feel the love, they can feel the support. And to come out of something like that and feel gratitude, like That's the point. That's power. That's where we grow. That's where we evolve as humanity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and what's miraculous and so unique too is that not everybody is going to or will have that response or belief. They'll fall into victimhood and they'll go down a spiral and potentially never come back from it.
Yeah.
It'll ruin their lives. It'll ruin their relationships, And so you are a testament to like turning that into a powerful, potent story of triumph. And it kind of circles us into facilitation.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a great segue into talking about how you came to understand that that was a path you wanted to follow.
Yeah. I feel like I knew after my first ceremony that, well, this is something I'm going to be doing. I feel like you've got that part of you too, where you have an experience and you're like, I need to learn that.
Yeah.
I need to do that. You feel it. You feel it in your heart.
Yeah.
Especially.
The remembering.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And so I think I knew that was a thing. I explored it maybe 4 or 5 years ago with I don't know, you don't want to call it a company, but with the facilitators that we started sitting with, they have a facilitation program. And so I explored that with them. I had multiple phone calls with the person who set up the training. She sent me all of the information, and there was just something about it that didn't resonate. So I put it on the back burner for a little while, and honestly, in an ayahuasca ceremony last year, it was very clear that I can't put that on the back burner anymore. Like I don't want to say work to do, because again, going back to the doing less, but I have a role to play.
Yeah.
And there are people that, I'm not going to be everybody's facilitator. That's not the point. But there are people who need that from me, and people that I meet that are going to trust me before they're going to trust anybody else. So if anything, I'm just opening the door for them. And so, I got introduced to our teachers, Adam and Claudia, and we have not quite figured out the full facilitation program because I'm in the first year of the Alchemy of Self with them, but also I knew I didn't need a program to start.
No.
So I've been doing it for the last year, and it's just been, I don't want to say eye-opening because it's been heart-opening.
Not eye-opening, heart-opening.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a t-shirt.
Right? Yeah. It's just been so beautiful. And I feel particularly called to hold space for women for now. And that's actually the easiest thing. Like facilitating women who are just by nature divine healers. There's so little that I have to do during the journey because they're doing it for each other.
Well, and are you finding as you're starting to facilitate and holding these circles, like, do you feel, how do I want to say this? That you're actually able to see how much growth you've made in this,
Yeah. Yeah, because, I can meet everybody where they're at, of course. And I see that where they're at. I'm like, I remember when I was there. And I think that I don't know about your own experience, but the last year, 2025, time has sped up. Like, I know a minute is a minute, but looking at the changes in the world, I really do believe time is speeding up. So these people, I've had a couple groups now, and some of the same people have showed up to every group. And within the matter of months, the amount of growth that I see in them is just like, holy shit.
It is. Plant medicine is such a powerful tool, you know, and I don't believe it's everything. I think, you know, people who may rely on it as the only source of, like, you know, enlightenment, I think are going to have a harder time integrating that, you know, that it's not everything, that it's just a tool in your arsenal of, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's not for everybody.
No.
There's definitely a lot of reverence to the medicine, to the integration of the medicine, because truly for the first 3 or 4 years that I was sitting with medicine, I was not integrating. I was just still like searching, looking for the answers. And turns out they're all inside of me. Yeah, wild. Yeah, because I was complete from the beginning. There was nothing to fix. There was nothing to heal, you know?
Yeah. Well, and maybe that's like when you're new in the plant medicine circle and world, because I remember thinking, oh my God, everybody has to do this. This is going to be so good for so-and-so, and they need to, you know, do this. And I remember my brother and my sister-in-law, like us kind of clashing, you know, like I, in my mind, could so clearly see how this was going to be helpful for them and that they should do this, and very much put my own opinions, you know, as the truth with a T. And it was very off-putting, you know. It was,
that's really weird. I've never projected on anybody, so what an experience.
You know, and it really should be something that you feel is calling you.
Yeah.
Versus, oh, hey, I've got this great thing. You need to try it.
Yeah.
If you're not feeling called to it, there's a reason. It doesn't mean never.
I think in the same way it found me, it will find everybody.
Yeah.
I think a lot more people are starting to ask more questions, and they're starting to remember who they are.
Yeah.
And the medicine is such a beautiful tool to show you who you are.
Well, and do you think, because I have felt like energetically a big shift in consciousness, and it started, or at least I noticed it during COVID. And as much as I despised that period of time in my life personally and collectively, and the world was just not a pleasant place to be in, I feel like it's like catapulted people's consciousness.
Yeah. And, you know, I talk to clients every day, and, you know, at least once a week I have the experience of being with a person who's had their own form of an awakening. Like, it's happening. I can see it happening around me. And yeah, COVID definitely catapulted that.
It's like the domino.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
You literally are watching.
Well, and for me, it was like a thing of I don't like to be told what to do. So observing everybody else in the world just totally okay with trusting and being told what to do and never asking questions just really made me realize kind of the gravity of the situation we're in right now. And it's wild.
Yeah.
It is really wild.
How easily, when people are living in fear, how easily they can be manipulated, and how easy a lie can be sold as the truth, you know, packaged up as, you know, this fear mongering. And it is. It's crazy.
It is crazy.
I lost a lot of friends, you know, or had a lot of like, and it was really on like social media. So like, were these really friends? You know, but I was still kind of new in my journey, and I knew in my core that we were being lied to. I knew it. And it was like a past lifetime's like kind of like anger, this righteous indignation that like, this is so fucked up and people need to wake up. I feel a lot different for you, like from what has it been, 5 years ago, God, that's crazy to think it's been that long already. To how I'm in just a space where it's like, not everybody's going to wake up in this lifetime in my circle.
No.
My family, it's just not, that's not a priority for them to have this like greater understanding of their mind and who they are and where they came, not everybody's interested in that. They want to get up and they want to go to work, punch the clock, come home, turn their TV show on, and then rinse and repeat day after day.
Right.
And that's okay.
It is. I do believe that everybody has their own contract. And as you're saying this and referring back to 2020, like Kaelyn in 2020 had a lot of judgment.
Yes.
About how fucking stupid people must be. And now I have a lot of compassion for a person who's living in so much fear.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of compassion for a person who doesn't see their own power and how, like, the human body is just such a gift, such a powerful gift that we can actually all heal ourselves, The idea that there was anything wrong with us to fix in the first place, the pharmaceutical company has put that idea into our heads, and it's just fucking wild.
It's a story, and it's meant
wild
to keep us sick and fat and tired
and stupid and forgetting who we are. Yeah. That's just
So it's intentional.
Oh, 100%.
And it's exhausting, which is why I just no longer engage in those conversations with people who don't want to see that.
Yeah. I've had, speaking of like engaging in these conversations with people, I noticed that my body has been in alignment with what I've been asking for before my brain's getting there. So I'll have like a client or a friend or family member talking about something that is just a really low vibration conversation, and I can't speak. Like, I have like something in my throat and I literally can't speak words.
Wow.
So I'm just like, damn, all right, cool. I see where I would have played that game before, and I don't play it anymore. And thank you, body, for knowing what my brain's been wanting, and then my brain that has this need to respond and need to, be in conversation with somebody so they don't feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
That just doesn't exist within me anymore.
Well, that's pretty fucking cool.
I know. And it was a
like,
little bit awkward.
What's wrong with you?
Like, well, it turns out I just can't talk that anymore.
And this is like not to oversimplify, but like medicine really does crack you open.
Oh, yeah.
And the more journeys that I do, the more I realize like all the things that I think I've got that figured out. I've worked through that. I'm good.
The medicine will say you think
so. It's like, oh, no. We still have another layer. And I've stopped being hard on myself because I haven't arrived. There is no destination.
There's nowhere to go.
Yeah. And it's really freeing.
Yeah. Yeah. That is also from the medicine been a really big, I don't know what you want to call it, lesson, or just like knowing that the whole point is to be in presence.
Yeah.
There's nowhere to go. There's nothing to do. And to show up genuinely and fully aligned with your highest self.
Yeah.
And be present with another person. That's where power is. That's where magic happens.
So in this chaotic world we live in, what are some things, some practices that you do that help you stay grounded and in a calm and peaceful state?
I would say one of the biggest things is putting my phone down. Staying off my phone. Like, meditation has definitely been one, it gets easier, so it's been easier and I crave it, but I also need to get out in nature, go touch the grass, touch a tree, like be outside, let the sun into my body and heal me. And being with people I love, people that fill me up, you know, and people that aren't going to focus on how shitty things are.
Right.
Like, the conversation we have creates our reality. So what are we going to talk about? Because I don't want to talk about the bad things unless it's in a way of, you know, like my grandmother died this year. That was really hard. That was a lot harder than I was expecting. And it's been one of the most beautiful things because I feel so much closer to her now than I did when she was alive. You know, I can feel her spirit with me. So if I'm going to talk about something that was bad, I want to talk about the gift it's given me.
Right. Because didn't you, it kind of was a catalyst to helping you understand that maybe being a death doula was something you wanted to explore?
Yeah. Yeah. That was definitely, there were like 3 things, like boom, 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 right, back to back, that showed me like, hey, you know, like, you're a really good hairstylist, but you actually have a sacred calling. And that is to be with people as they pass, to be with people leading up to it as they pass. You know, like, I don't know, like I said, I don't know the next steps, or I don't know, like, I don't have a 5-year plan. Sure. I know what the next step is.
Yeah.
And I trust that whenever I find I trust that the program I'm meant to be in will find me.
Yeah.
I think that I've got this idea that plant medicine and this death doula will be hand in hand. I don't know what that looks like. I don't know. I do feel like, you know, like, something's going to have to change with the laws to make that a possibility. But I think that...
Well, we know some people working on that.
Yeah, we do. We got a pretty cool group of friends
really
doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, like, it's kind of funny. I think about that and I'm like, wow, those are the male friends doing.
Yeah.
Like, and the females are the healers.
Yeah.
They're holding that space, you know?
Yeah.
So
everybody has a role to play, right?
Yeah. And mine is definitely not in the courts.
Yeah.
So.
Me neither.
Yeah.
Me neither. I feel called to the idea of that, you know, that we should have the right to decide what we put in our bodies.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and if you can inject all this shit into your face, what the hell?
Right.
You can't eat a plant?
Right. Or here's a gazillion narcotics and that you're going to become addicted to.
Yeah.
But this, which can be used to heal your mind, is not permitted. It's not allowed. And to me, it's so transparent what's happening and why.
It sure is. Mm-hmm. It sure is. Yeah. I think that in the last year, you know, like, another catalyst after my grandmother's death is I had a session with a woman who reads your Akashic records. And so the history of all these lifetimes that you've lived. And she removes earthbound souls that are clung to your body, your spirit, your being, to help you step more fully into yourself. So my thought being, you know, what if there's a way to utilize psychedelics for a person who is in hospice care to clear them of all of these earthbound souls, all of these earthbound beings, so that they can transition into whatever is after this life fully.
Yeah.
And not be an earthbound soul.
I'll tell you what, is John Hopkins has that very thing. That's how they were able to do their studies, because it was in stage cancer patients who were dying, and they were allowed to use psilocybin with them because they were end of life.
Yeah.
And the profound changes that occurred with them, because they were all afraid to die. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah.
And they had these mystical journeys they rated as like within the top 5 most profound moments in their lives. And this was one of them. And they were all okay transitioning.
And, you know, I also kind of have the belief that as this, I'm just going to speak it into existence, as this becomes more utilized, people don't die as much. Like, what if we're reversing the effects of their illnesses with these medicines? What if we're waking them up to remember that they can heal themselves?
Well, you and I both know that is not only possible, it's very likely.
Yeah.
With the strong connection of mind and body, and you know, when we get stuck in that sick loop, and believe me, I know.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know?
and I mean, even going back to my assault, you know, like, could I have been stuck in this space of being afraid to go out in public, being afraid of men, being afraid of night, being afraid of anything, you know, like trusting that I knew in my body and in my mind that I was going to be okay and that I was going to have the ability to heal myself. And, you know, like, I mean, even just in comparison, my face then versus my face now, you can't tell. Like, the scarring is gone for the most part. There's nothing there because I genuinely believed that I could heal it. Mm-hmm. Here I am.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and here you are. What would you say to somebody who's just kind of starting out in their spiritual journey? Maybe someone that's like coming to do plant medicine for the very first time, and you know, they're just getting into this world. What would you say to them as words of wisdom?
I think what would have been most beneficial for me to hear in the beginning is that you can't rush it. You can't rush your healing. Integration takes time. And that integration is embodiment. So these lessons and these big aha moments you have, are you carrying that in your being to your everyday life, into the mundane? Like, that's where you know it's working, you know? Because honestly, I felt like after my first journey, it was almost just like, well, that was really cool. And also nothing happened. Like, I'm not fixed. What?
Right.
Like,
what do you mean?
So, yeah, it takes time. You can't rush it. Everybody's journey is so very different. And everybody's journey is the same because we're all one,
Right.
You know?
Take it easy on yourself.
Yeah.
Like, there really isn't a timeline for, or a blueprint for how this all really looks or is supposed to be.
And if there is, it's perfect.
Right.
Trusting that it is playing out exactly how it's supposed to.
So I really appreciate you coming today, because I think it'd be really interesting for us both to sit back and watch the episode, you know, all those months ago to today, and the difference, not just the way we look, but
but also in the way we look. I was thinking about that when I was getting ready today, and I'm like, I will also say I'm coming off of a medicine journey this weekend, and I looked in the mirror yesterday morning, and I'm like, I look different. I can see it. So I think about where I was a year and a half ago when we first talked, and I'm like, I definitely look fucking different. And I feel different. I feel better, you know? And like, even if I looked the same, I'm not going to show up the same, because what's radiating out of me is more love.
So what's next? I mean, if you could just take a magic wand and you say, this is exactly what I want the next 5 years to look like.
Yeah,
what's
really,
it kind of look like? I'm curious.
Really stepping into the role of a facilitator, step into the role of a death doula, and stepping into this role of just real alignment with my higher self, where I don't doubt myself, where I don't even feel the need to explain it to anybody, because I just know my truth so deeply within my body, I have nothing to question. I feel like this continual journey of calming my nervous system is just created. Like, I mean, I've noticed in the past couple months, like, there's something more magnetic about me. There's more people coming to me, asking for things, needing things, and it's showing me I'm on my right path. So, yeah, I'm like, you asked that. I'm like, I know and I don't know.
Yeah.
I have no idea. I'm totally open to whatever the universe has for me. And, you know, like, I wouldn't call myself a religious person, but I think about the Bible saying thy will be done. And, you know, you can call it God's will, but psychosynthesis refers to it as universal will. Like, may the universal will be done. And I surrender any control that I have in that and
Surrender to
trust.
the flow.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I really appreciate you coming and giving us an update around where you are and where you're headed. And I see you, and I am so grateful that you were in my life and that we get to continue on this journey they call life together.
Same.
So
I love you so much.
I love you, sister.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you. If you like this episode, please like and subscribe for more related content. And until next time, be kind to yourself, listen inward, and follow what lights you up.